Have you ever thought that your horse is trying to tell you something, but you just don't know what it is? I'm Carla, and this is Raven. She's my horse, and we work on communication all the time. And I've noticed through watching a lot of people with their horses that there are a lot of miscommunications. The person doesn't know what the horse wants. The horse doesn't know what the person's saying. So what we're going to do in this video is teach you about how horses communicate. Obviously, they can't talk, so they use things like, well, a lot of body language, particularly with their ears, their expressions, and we're going to move into that right now. Some of the benefits of understanding what your horse is saying is you will develop a deeper bond with them. It will keep you safer when you know what a horse is trying to tell you, and also you'll have a more effective training. The reason we don't often know what our horses are saying is because they do a lot of talking through body language. Actually, they do all their talking through body language. So it's important to understand what they're trying to say. The reason that body language is the way horses communicate is obviously because they can't talk. So they have to use their body, their eyes, their ears, different facial expressions to communicate with us. And when you can communicate better with your horse, you have a better bond because you're having a back and forth communication instead of just one way. Also, it makes for more effective training, and it makes you safer when you know what your horse is telling you. One of the first ways you can tell what a horse is thinking, and one of the most noticeable as you're approaching them, is their ears. When their ears are pointed forward, they're alert, they're interested in something. You will find always that the horse's ears are pointed where their attention is. She's looking out the window right now, so she's seeing something going on out there. So Raven's ears are back, but they're not pinned flat back, so she's not angry. She's kind of paying attention to the sounds behind her, and she's relaxed and chilling, but you see her ears are changing directions, and that's because her focus is changing based on all the stuff that's going on down here in the barn. And we always have a lot going on. When a horse's ears are off to the side, kind of like this one is, that means they're relaxed. So if they're slightly back or just off to the side, it means the horse is relaxed and calm. If their ears go all the way back, though, you need to watch out because when they pin their ears, they feel angry or aggressive. And we'll show you their ears would go flat back like that. Well, I don't know if you can see, flat back like that. That means your horse, you better watch out because your horse might be coming for you or they're going for another horse. When their ears flick around, that can mean that they are anxious and not knowing where to focus next. And I think pretty much I've covered all the ear positions. This is my other horse, Rico. Now I think next we want to talk about eyes. Eyes are very expressive with people and with horses. Rico's a good example of, he has a soft eye. They talk about soft and hard eyes in horses. Rico's has got a really nice, kind, soft eye. When a horse has just a nice, kind, soft eye, and they do occasionally, blink, that means they're relaxed and calm. When a horse has a hard eye, usually it goes along with a lot of tension, and you can see the tension in their body as well. But they have a hard eye. Sometimes it's closed, half closed, and that means that with a hard eye that they just aren't people think they're just not a kind horse. So, and sometimes that's true. When people go shopping for horses, they look for horses with a soft, kind eye. Sometimes you'll see a horse with their eyes kind of half shut, and that can mean that they're kind of dozing, they're relaxed, or at other times, depending on how they're presenting with the rest of their body, it can mean that they're not feeling well, that they got standing there with their head down and just kind of not feeling good. So I think we've covered most of what's going on with their eyes. They tell us things with their head and neck positions. Right now, he's telling us that he's just kind of alert and looking off at something that's outside the barn door. He sees things going on, and he is kind of focused on that and not on me at the moment. But when their head and neck are high, they're alert. They are possibly even poised to turn and run based on what they happen to see. When a horse has their head kind of down lower, that's preferable. They're relaxed. I guess submissive is the word a lot of people use. And I can ask him to lower his head. He might or he might not. Sometimes people ask him to lower their head, and I haven't done this with him, so he probably won't, by putting pressure on a little pressure on their poll. And then if they lower their head, they relax the pressure. And when people are going to ride their horse, a lot of times they'll lunge their horse, and when their horse is fresh trotting around with their head up, not focused, on you, then they really don't want to get on them yet. As you go along and your horse is working on the lunge line, they'll gradually relax, drop their head, and at that point you may feel ready to get on. You can also tell a lot about a horse's mood by what they do with their nose, their nostrils, and their mouth. Sometimes the horse's nostrils are wide and flaring, and that usually means that they're excited about something and maybe trying to pick up a scent. Right now, Rico's mouth and nostrils are relaxed. You can see there are no lines. When they are more tense, they get lines above the nostrils and around the edges of their mouth. He isn't quite completely relaxed. He's attentive. If he were completely relaxed, a lot of times they'll have a very droopy lower lip and they'll just be standing there chilling. Another way that horses express themselves with their mouth is through teeth grinding and also air biting. Like when you're doing their girth, they might reach around and it's like a dog snapping. They'll snap at things with their mouth and grind their teeth, and that's usually a sign of tension, and it can be aggravation or pain. But so that's one of the last things. That's the last thing they do with their mouth unless they're nibbling your jacket. Horses' tails also express some of how they're feeling or how their body is feeling. When a horse is walking or when you're riding a horse, you like to see that their tail is kind of just loose and relaxed and gently swishing back and forth with their motion, kind of like this. Rico's pretty relaxed because he is letting me do this to him. So the swaying with the motion is a good sign, but sometimes horses really flick with their tail. I'm doing a good demo. Like they flick at flies, and sometimes they're actually flicking at people too, and that's not a very nice thing to do. When you're riding them, well, even actually if you're leading them somewhere and they're flicking with their tail, there may not be flies, and it may not be they're trying to get you, but it could mean they're really aggravated or annoyed with something. So you definitely want to pay attention to what your horse is doing with their tail. And kind of the last thing that they sometimes do is clamp their tail. And that can be they aren't feeling well. A lot of times when it gets colder, they clamp their tails, so you can always tell something's going on when their tail is clamped. And it always makes me wonder, you want to check and make sure, that they're feeling okay, or maybe they need a blanket. We also look at a horse's body posture, how they're holding themselves, how their muscles are. I want to say before he shifts his weight and moves that Rico's, when they're relaxed, their whole body will look relaxed, and also a lot of times they'll rest a back leg like he has been doing right now. When they are more tense or alerted by something, their head goes up, their body gets tight and tense, and they're trying to process what they're seeing, not sure if they should run or stay. Horses are prey animals. We always have to remember they're prey animals, and that all they can do if they're being preyed on is flight or fight, and they really aren't equipped to fight. They don't have sharp teeth. I mean, they can kick, but their primary go-to is flight because they are quick and they really just want to turn and flee if they sense any danger. How this information can all help you is it will help you have a better bond with your horse. You want to make sure you pay attention to what they're doing, their subtle signs that they're showing. And you really can't do that unless you focus too. So you really have to be focused, maybe spend some time observing them. Another thing you want to do is match your energy to theirs. I don't know about biting him, but or playing with his, biting his forelock or anything, but you want to slow down, because if you're fast and tense, they're going to be fast and tense. So you don't really want to match that energy. But a lot of the time you want to mirror and reflect what they're doing. Also, you want to respect their personal space. If you happen to go up to your horse and they kind of turn away, they're in their stall, they turn their back, just kind of hang out and wait a minute and allow them to come to you, because they don't really want to be chased. Learning your horse's body language takes a little bit of time, but it's well worth taking your time and observing and enjoying a better bond with your horse. Good boy. If you're ready to get started with your horse, head on over to my website, equislink.com. You can grab my free guide, Helping Your Horse Focus. Again, it's equislink.com. And focus is where it all starts.